Welcome to another episode of Design+Style, a podcast for designers, by designers, with co-hosts Dixie Willard of Dixie Willard Design and Rachel Moriarty of Rachel Moriarty Interiors. The Design+Style podcast is brought to you by the Design+Style Visibility Lab. The Visibility Lab is the only membership group that focuses on the latest strategies and tools to help you get more visible while showcasing your specific brilliance. We've got weekly online office hours with both of us, monthly topics, in-depth worksheets, and exclusive monthly trainings. Today on the podcast, Nancy Ganzekaufer. Nancy is a focused, motivated, and dedicated business coach. Through her work, she empowers creative entrepreneurs to build the life and businesses they have always wanted. As a mom of 3 young adults and a successful business owner, Nancy understands the unique challenges entrepreneurs face when pursuing their dreams of growing a profitable business. She leads by example through her hard work, encouragement, and most of all, her no BS leadership style. In addition to business coaching, Nancy is a national board member of the Interior Design Society and the current and founding president of the IDS virtual chapter.
Let's just talk about how excited we are and honored to have you as a guest on Design+Style, Miss Nancy Ganzekaufer. I did I say it right?
You did.
I finally feel like I've heard it enough where I can attempt it on air.
It's scary when you look at it, but it's actually quite phonetic.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So we met you, or we were kind of introduced to you through our mutual friend, Luann.
Yes.
Luann Nigara of a Well-Designed Business podcast. Did you guys do a mastermind training together? Was that?
We did a group, I think it was a 10-week group coaching program together called Money, Mindset, and Sales. And we so have to do it again because it was so fabulous.
Yeah.
So we've started talks about that. We're just both so busy doing our own thing, right? To get together but yes, we did that. It was great. Those people went on to, some of them became her clients, my clients, and then they still just, follow along, and they're doing really well. So it was a great, successful group coaching.
We're right in the middle of our 10-week. We just launched Visibility Warrior.
I saw that.
And so that's fun. We have about 10 people going through it right now.
Nice.
And so that's been really fun. This is the first time we've ever launched anything, and we might be addicted. We'll see.
It's fun. How did you guys structure it? Like, is it a group in Zoom like this? Is it in? How is it structured?
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. We've got modules that come out with a video, and then you can choose. You can watch the video where Rachel and I talk about things, or you can listen to the audio, or if you're a reader like me, we have the written version. We cover all the bases.
Wow.
It's really not, it sounds impressive. It's really not that much.
No, I'm sure it's impressive because I know I do these things and it takes a lot of work. So good for you guys.
Yeah. Then a workbook, and then we've got an online group, a Facebook group where we work things out. Rachel and I do office hours and
love it.
Yeah.
It's I know.
So much fun. It's so exciting too to get to help people and to see all of their little ideas just germinate and grow into these great, big, huge ideas.
That's the best part of a group program, I find, right? Everyone supports each other. Everyone helps each other. You guys are there to teach them new things, but then they start teaching them each other new things too. And you guys new things, right? All of a sudden, it's really a nice, I love the group dynamic. It's a nice dynamic. Yep.
So you do your weekend wind down.
Yes.
Tell me how you started that.
Well, because as you know, visibility is so important, and then consistency in visibility is so important. And I thought, how can I be consistent? Like, you know what, the days I have a lot of clients, thankfully, I'm very grateful for that. It's like, how can I do this every day? And I was like, I can't do this long hour every day.
Yeah, exactly.
It just would have killed every day, and it would have stressed me out every day. And I always say, start with something that you can do. So I do go live in my private group, Actionable Entrepreneurs, every day, mostly, consistently, but not at the same time. Because again, for me to commit to 9 o'clock Eastern time every single day sometimes just doesn't work. right? Life gets in the way. But I go live in there every day, Monday through Friday. But for my, general visibility and to try to grow my audience, I go live once a week. And Fridays is perfect, right? It's the end of my day. Long week. I get to have my wine, which I love wine, right? So I just thought, you know what, Weekend Wind Down is kind of a fun title, and let me just do this consistently. And I missed last week because I was going to a play with my son for the first time in 26 weeks. That was so yeah, he was home from college,
wonderful.
and he said, "Mom, you want to go to a play?" And how do you say no to that?
I suppose that's a reasonable.
Thank you.
A reasonable reason. Yeah. That's not an excuse. That's actually a reason.
Exactly. And it was competing with Joe Hecker's live on the Property Brothers too. So I thought, you know what? How perfect is this?
Yeah, exactly. I'm supporting his efforts.
100%. I'm supporting his efforts. The measly few that would have been watching me are now watching him.
Yes. Here's my gift to you. 3 people.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I love that. So we were just talking about our visibility thing. It's so funny. The last 2 people we have, ours is called 9 C's to become a visibility warrior. And one of them is consistency.
Yes.
And it's so important. Nancy, I even hear influencers sometimes say, well, I'm not consistent at this. And it's very flippant. And I don't think people give enough weight to that word consistency. And I love that you were able to say, I want to be consistent if I'm going to be, and you're like me, I cannot put a time on the calendar.
Very hard. Yeah.
I will resist my own self. That's like how bad I am sometimes. I have to go as I am inspired. And, otherwise it's a flat live. And when I put out a flat live, nobody watches anyway. It's about energy, right? You have to have like the perfect energy to stop people scroll. So I love that you do that. I love that you're consistent about it. And you thought, okay, well, it has to be, at the end of the week, and it has to include wine, and, and you found a way. And there's enough flexibility in it when life happens or something more important happens, and definitely going to a play with your son is way more important, right?
Yes, I thought so.
Yeah,
it was a great play too.
So I love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is this fabulous framework that I'm starting to see a lot of designers incorporate in their lives, and their, when they're talking about themselves. I'm sure they're using it all over posts, website, and everything.
I hope so.
Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's an exercise I came up with called Your Business in Words. And a lot of people call it an elevator speech, but it's actually very different. What I found is, in my past, I was an art framing and accessory consultant to interior designers here in New York tri-state area. And try telling somebody at a party or on vacation or at a networking event, well, what do you do for a living? I'm an art consultant. And they're just like, what? Like, what does that mean? Is it investment level art? Is it you sell posters, right? Nobody knew what that was. So over the years, I started to come up with a formula that would describe what that was. And I can't even rattle that off the top of my head anymore, because now when I hung my shingle as a coach, I said, let me do this again. And at a Toys for Tots event, a man I was talking to, I'm halfway through my business in words, and they're like, my wife needs you, right? I'm on vacation in Iceland talking to someone from Ireland, and she's saying, I was thinking of starting a business next year. Do you actually coach internationally? I'm like, yes, I do. Mm-hmm. So I decided to start. When I started coaching interior designers, I also coach other creative entrepreneurs, web designers and artists and other coaches who want a coaching business, because I did that fairly fast and I have a lot to teach about that. I started realizing, how are they distinguishing themselves, right? If you're at a party and someone says, what do you do? And you say, oh, I'm an interior designer. What do? They go,
that's fun.
Hi, that must be so much fun. Yeah. Or I could never afford you, or I'm probably not your ideal client, right? Or something, whatever their knowledge of interior design from their past, from their life, from growing up, from an experience with a friend or someone else, they are now have just dumped that on you, right? So what can you say that talks to your ideal client, and how can you attract people? So the very first sentence is actually the most powerful. If you write down a bunch of adjectives that represent who you are as a person and as a designer, because it really does overlap, right? Are you friendly? Are you organized? I don't let anyone use the word creative, because you're all creative.
Hope so.
Right? Maybe innovative, maybe I have a whole list in the exercise, maybe you're more transitional, perhaps you're timely, which is really important to a lot of people, right? You're prompt and on time. So I say to choose 3 adjectives that represent you, and that's your first sentence. So who should I put on the spot? Dixie or Rachel? Okay, so give me.
I've been dying to do this. Okay.
Okay, so I am the most.
I am the
3
most.
adjectives.
I am the most.
I need a pen and paper. You tell me your adjectives, and I'll tell you what you should write.
Dixie, you gotta help me. I'll be the guinea pig, but you gotta help me.
It's actually a good exercise to talk to a friend if you get stuck, or look back at your past reviews from clients, and what do they say about you, right? She's so efficient. She's so organized. She's so amazing, right?
They always say like on time and on budget, because I think that's
not
my
allowed
backing.
to use the word budget.
Oh, okay.
Because unless you want to.
So whatever that is for on time, or
prompt.
Prompt, yeah.
There's better words too, but go ahead. What else? What about your personality?
Dixie. Why did I volunteer myself?
You said me.
I'm loving this.
Hardworking, supportive.
It's
I'm like,
I'm going to look at my list. Hold on. I've done this.
Keep going.
I'm going to look at my list.
This is horrible.
You're vibrant.
Vibrant. See, I like
vibrant.
that.
Oh, yes. Vibrant.
I like that.
Nancy, this is great.
I'll read you one sentence from. Okay. I am the most easygoing, passionate, and stylistic interior designer you will ever meet.
Ooh, I like stylistic.
Okay. This was for a nutritional therapist, so it's slightly different. I am the most supportive, enthusiastic, and results-focused nutritional therapist, but that could go for an interior designer also.
Yeah.
I've done hundreds of these, and it's so interesting. If I don't let people use the word creative, they all come out different. So here's another one. I am an innovative, trustworthy, and experienced interior designer, specializing in creating beautiful homes for busy professionals. So look at that. You just got your ideal client in there.
Wow.
Right? I am a knowledgeable, creative, and very intuitive interior designer with a specialty in color consulting.
I am intuitive. I'm intuitive and empathic. So I'd love to throw that in there, because I feel like that's an important, like even my clients are like, so did you get the goosebumps on that? Because I just, everything I do is so like intuitive and body. I kind of use my body as an editing, like, okay, I got it. And then I'll get the goosebumps and know that like, okay, I'm done.
And I used to get that with artwork.
Really?
Yeah, if artwork gave me goosebumps, I was like, oh my God, that's the piece. That's it.
So funny. I love to hear that. What'd you say?
Structures.
You just did it the other day, because Dixie does construction, and it's like framing and all that stuff. And
you get goosebumps with structures?
Oh, yes. Everything goes together. Part of that, and I think everybody knows this at this point, I was studying to be a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
So I like the nuts and bolts of how things go together. And so standing in this stick frame house, it has a roof and sheathing, and that's it. And just seeing how everything was put together in all of the different angles and rooms, it's just heaven to me.
So
Dixie's one of those people who always has like puzzles on her, like 1,000 puzzles. So she's like very.
So you're a problem solver.
I'm a problem solver. I am.
I mean, again, all interior designers are problem solvers.
We all are,
but it comes to the surface for Dixie.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
As one of her primary, top of the line, right? So again, you would say interior designer specializing in new constructions.
Yes.
I do.
She does. Yeah.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah.
So that's just the first sentence. So if I read you the whole, for some reason I have a runny nose. Excuse me. Right.
Oh, I know. No worries. We can take a runny nose break. Don't worry.
We can pause. It's not a
This is when editing's nice.
Yes.
It's still cold here in New York. Okay. So here's an example. I am the most easygoing, passionate, and stylistic interior designer you'll ever meet. I help professional couples create a beautiful space to unwind from their busy day. A space that they can come home to exhale, relax, and entertain. So those are the first two.
You know what? That just literally let my blood pressure down. Like as you were saying that sentence, and even though the fact that you were reading it and running through it, I was like, ah, I love that. I love
and if you knew somebody who that felt good to also and needed an interior designer, and you weren't an interior designer, you would say, oh my God, my sister so needs you. Or, right?
Exactly.
So it's making you think of, and then your process comes in next, right? Everybody's process is slightly different. You want someone to be able to imagine working with you, and you're looking to attract someone who's going to like your process as well, not someone who's trying to change you the whole time, which a lot of people, right? So the next sentence is through a series for this interior designer, through a series of live or virtual consultations, I get to know who they are, their personalities, their styles, and needs. Then I create a fully inclusive design plan from floor to ceiling, present it to them, make final adjustments, and move forward to procure all items on their behalf to make it a turnkey ready room. So who are they trying to attract?
Oh my God.
People who are busy and don't have time to organize all the rest of the stuff.
Maybe somebody who's moving to a new town and they need a turnkey ready room. And the last sentence is always the excitement that you feel when you witness a client being so thrilled, right? So this designer said, nothing makes me happier than getting an email from my clients saying that I helped them create a space that reflected both of their styles.
Couples.
Right? Couples. So
I talk about
thing.
Yeah, I talk about a home that makes you happy the moment you walk in the door.
Yes.
Because it's there to rejuvenate you. It's your place of relaxation and refuge from all of the craziness out in the, because I'm an introvert and I like to be at home by myself.
Yes. Yes.
Tell my husband that. I love it. I do. And I enjoy spending time with him, but every once in a while.
No, when my kids were younger, my husband, I am divorced now, but my husband would say, are you going to Genevieve's? Because at the time it was called Genevieve's. I'm aging myself. And I'll come with you. I'll bring the baby. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. I want to be alone. Look at the makeup. So that's so normal.
So how do we get, is that
it's a free exercise.
Oh, I was going to say, is it something that we opt into? Is it something that,
a couple of ways.
We'll have to put a link.
On my website, nancyganzekaufer.com, on the resources page is a square that says your business in words. It's free. Or you can just do nancyganzekaufer.com/YBIW, your business in words, all lowercase, and it'll take you right there.
That is fabulous.
And it comes with a half an hour to 35-minute webinar that I did, and a writable PDF. So you download it and you can do your sentences one at a time, and when you pull it all together, you get it at the end.
That's amazing. We are going to definitely link that.
And then you got to tell me how yours come out. You got to post it.
I've got to find a way to say that I can translate what contractors say.
That's actually, we can do that. You have to say, basically, you put into English building speak. Right? So that can go in at some point during your process. I will translate building speak into English for you so you understand everything that you're getting when you're building your new fabulous home.
I love that.
Right? You can add a sentence, but for the most part, these are 4 sentences. And then I think in this exercise online, it's still at the end, even though you would add it at the beginning, if you can tell a story about how you progressed to an interior designer, maybe any struggle you had or any aha moment in your life, that's what people remember. When I do interviews, people will remember I'm a business coach, but what they remember more is my story of how I became what I am today, right? I had 3 sick kids. I went through a divorce. Like, not that I'm trying to get sympathy. I'm not. It's just my journey. I was a personal fitness instructor. I was a first vice president in a bank. And it's funny when the people come up to you, they're like, I used to work at a bank too. And somehow that, like, so you want to, if you can, if you have a long enough time slot, if you're standing up in front of a room to present who you are, like at a BNI, if you can get a little bit of your story in there before you do your business in words, people will be attracted to you for who you are as well.
I love that.
Not just for what you do.
I love that you said that. And for anyone listening, I mean, Dixie and I are so into story right now. We're reading, oh my gosh, we're just super into story, period.
Stories sell. People remember them.
And part of visibility. And, you know, I remember I was a private banker, Nancy. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not.
In 2014, I was I left banking in 2015, the middle of 2015. So I haven't been doing this iteration of my design firm for very long.
Let's see. I haven't been coaching that long. So it's how we can, you recreate yourself based on what you love to do and what is of value to someone else, right? What do you do really well? I always say that to people I'm coaching. Which part of design do you love?
The thing was, though, for me, is I actually hired a copywriter to bury my banking, because my story in my head was, who's going to hire a banker to decorate their home? But when I got more comfortable in what I was doing, when I was like, okay, my business was going and I was, you know, attracting clients and all that, I started realizing when I would talk to the husband that I would say I was a private banker, and, you know, I'll look at my spreadsheets, you know, anytime of 24 hours, look at my spreadsheets. I dare you to find a mistake in this. You know what I mean? Like, I challenge you. And so once I got that part and was able to bring that part and was able to, like, get rid of that analytical in the decision making, it was something I threaded back into my story. So
100%.
It's interesting that, you know, you really do have to bring that full picture of yourself.
Yeah, like I tell designers, you know, listen, when you're at somebody's house, don't be telling your whole life story.
Yeah.
But if somebody said what they do for a living, oh, I used to do that as well, right?
Yes.
You want to look for those connection points on an emotional level, because that's what makes people like you, want to keep you around, and make them feel like you can relate to their life, right? Do you have the same dog? Do you have the same number of kids? Do your kids go to the same college or have the same, but don't spill out your life story. It's not about you.
No.
But if you hear something that you can say, oh, that's interesting. I have the same age kids.
Yes.
Well, that's like us when we started chatting, talking about the fact that you and I are both empty nesters.
Exactly.
And we remember the days when we had little ones at home, like Rachel does.
Yes.
Fondly.
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 Of course.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. I love it. I love it. So you help creatives. I mean, there are so many people that we know the same that I know that you've helped because they mention you, and they have this framework built into when they talk. Even sometimes they'll get stuck and they'll say, well, Nancy taught me, you know, sometimes they've come on the podcast and they'll like rewrite in the middle of their little, you know, thing and they're in their intro. I think Ian was one of them.
Yes.
Where he kind of stopped and he was like, let me do it the Nancy way.
Well, I have 2 clients right now. It's so funny. This comes up separately. They're like, I heard Nancy on my shoulder. And I'm like, okay, when Nancy's on your shoulder all the time, you don't need me anymore, because my goal is not to keep you forever. My goal is to teach you. So really, I specialize in creatives. I have a lot of interior designers because that is where I came from for 15, 16 years. I was an art consultant. What is that, right? But I was an art consultant, president of the Long Island chapter of the Interior Design Society. I'm a national board member still, and I'm the president of the virtual chapter. So I have a lot of people who know me in this world, in the interior design world, which is why that is kind of where I started. When I first hung a shingle as a coach, I was so grateful for a bunch of people who knew me were like, okay, good. Now we're going to pay you for what you always did for free anyway.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I literally love what I do. When someone calls me and say, I got that sale, I was finally confident to charge what I was supposed to charge. I changed my ladder of services. I really specialize in that confidence you need to, right from the beginning, by you finding the words to describe yourself. And then I have a whole desire sales formula that I created myself on how to close a sale and how to, walk somebody through that emotion of the sale without just going, this is how much I charge, right? Which some people make the mistake of doing. And I have so many things that I've created, and that's what I specialize is just helping you make decisions confidently, or if you need someone to bounce things off of, giving you that sales and leadership in your own life. So I really do. I love what I do.
That's
and as
great.
I see a lot of women and men progress, and by the time they leave me, they're like, oh my God, I'm like a whole different person when it comes to running my business. I feel so happy.
On my
we need a Nancy.
I'm here.
I think
I'm actually on your shoulders, I think.
Yes,
actually,
I'm on Rachel's shoulder.
What people don't realize too is people think banking is service and banking is sales. Yeah. I was, you're selling loans and credit cards and checking accounts and, it depends on what level, commercial, whatever. So that's why I think that a lot of people that I know that do well, that have a banking background, tend to do well in their own businesses as well, because it's just, it's just way sexier to sell a beautiful home than a checking account.
I was actually never in the private banking sector. I was in charge of the mortgage servicing department and the investor servicing departments, towards the end. But isn't sales part of everyday life?
Everything,
anyway?
yes.
We present ourselves in a way that people need to respect us. We need to set our boundaries, right? We need to have those relationships in a way that benefit us in both personal and professional life. And if you don't know how to kind of stand in your own power and be okay with saying no, asking for what you're worth, learning the words around that so you don't sound obnoxious or uppity, it's a dance, right? It's a fine dance, and I'm really good at that dance, so I like to teach it.
Well, like even for Dixie and I mean, just out of full transparency, we had it down how to, sell to a design client, right? We'd been working with coaches, and we were messaging, getting clarity around that. And we were attracting, and it was less work. We'd put in the work, right? In the front. But making this transition to design and style has not been easy for us, because now we're not talking to the homeowner, we're talking to interior designers as well, right?
Yes.
And so it's funny how you have to kind of it's just two mindsets, because we have our design firms and we have Design and Style, and we started Design and Style just like, let's flick on the record button and put it on iTunes. Like, it was just a fun little thing that we did,
I love that though. You didn't let fear hold you back. You just jumped right into the middle of the ocean and you figured it out.
We did.
We are figuring it out. Yeah. So it was a lot of dog paddling once we started, but we just became a business entity in September.
Wow.
So this is all fairly new for us.
I think you guys are doing incredible. You know what? You're learning everything you need to know to get to that next level. And I mean, I hired coaches when I first became a coach, and I was in a group, hold on to your hats here. I was in a group of 200 people. A group of 200 people. About 4 months in, I thought, this is not for me, because I know what they're teaching. I know the formula they're teaching, that you're supposed to rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I'm going, this doesn't match my personality. Like, I just don't like it. And I didn't enjoy it. And it was a ton of work for very little outcome. And I thought, I'm an experienced businesswoman. I've created 3 businesses. This is my 3rd. What can I do differently? And I stayed there and learned everything that I could possibly learn. And I learned a lot. It's not like I regret that at all. But when it came to growing the coaching business, I went off in a completely different direction than they were teaching. And thankfully, 200 people, not a lot of people were successful.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
get lost in a group that
Yep.
way, right? But now I teach some of them how I grew my business. And
That's wonderful.
sometimes you have to follow your own gut, but then I do.
Oh, I always do. Yeah.
Right? I still hire coaches for
I do too.
specialties, right?
Yeah.
It's important to always educate
Nancy,
and always
I've hired people to teach me how to take self-portraits. You know how I put a lot of pictures of myself out there. I was used to being on the backside. When we started our own research and story to get into our stories for Visibility Warrior, there's a decade I couldn't find a picture of myself.
Really?
I had my kids, my son's almost 20, almost 18. I just focused on my kids. I
Yes.
was never in front of the camera. I was constantly
Mm-hmm.
behind the camera. So that whole visibility part, I had to hire somebody to get me comfortable again in front of, I've had to hire somebody for mindset. I've had to, for money, for, everything. I've just a little when I need it, I think
100%.
coaches are amazing.
You know what's funny though, that we have in common with Nancy?
What?
We didn't have anybody to teach us what we needed to know for visibility, so we went out and did it our own way. We did it
Dixie,
our
and
way.
I know we met in a
And then you created a
mastermind.
course. Really?
And we did, and for interior designers, and the leader was kind of invisible, what we put in quotes, and so that was the piece that we really wanted. We really wanted more of her, and we weren't getting it, and so that's kind of what we created in our community.
I think it's fantastic, and everybody needs the visibility. It's not like if you build it, they will come. No, if you build it, you'll sit here by yourself in the building, and no one will find you. Right? So you have to be. I have a client who wouldn't even get on, or barely would get on Zoom to do coaching because I do it this way, and now often is regular Facebook Lives and loving it and increasing visibility. And you know what? It doesn't happen overnight. I always say
no, not at all.
6 months to a year, and then see. And just to give you an interesting statistic that I was even shocked by this week. I had 4 or 5 consults on my calendar this week. I always ask them the first question, and you probably do the same for your interior design clients for sure. Can I ask you where you found me? Right? Okay. So one found me on another person's Facebook Live that I had done a joint Facebook Live. One person found me on Instagram. That's my second client from Instagram over a year and a half, right? Which is still a long time when I started my Instagram. One found me on a webinar that I did. One heard me on a podcast. And the 5th one was another, like somewhere else that I am. And I was like, wow. So visibility works. And it's not, yes, you can get overwhelmed by all the different outlets. I always say start on one, learn everything you need to know about that one. Which is ever changing, but to do the best you can, right? Up to date information. And then pick a second one where your ideal client probably hangs out, right? And then learn everything you need to know about that. And then do one thing industry, something, an industry organization like an ASID or an IDS or an NKBA.
Your IDS is virtual as well, isn't it? Or is it virtual local or?
There are... Interior Design+Style is a national organization with local physical chapters in many states. But they have many members who are members nationally, and they don't have the ability to have a local chapter because there's not enough people there to organize it. And so I went to the board last year and I said, you know what, I've learned in the last year and a half, I knew none of this technology. None of it, right? Probably like you. And at my age, it hurts my brain to continue to learn it, but I do it. So I went to them and I said, I have all the technology now. Why don't we add a benefit to the national members who don't live near a local chapter and extend our reach and do a virtual chapter? And they said, sure, you want to be president? Like, yeah, because I don't like when people give me ideas and they don't follow through with it. So it started in January. And
that's awesome.
I couldn't tell you how many members I have right now. But
so Elizabeth.
Oh, she's my vice president.
Elizabeth Scruggs, and she lives in Nashville.
Yes.
And IDS in Tennessee, we have a chapter here in Knoxville, but there wasn't one in Nashville.
Yes.
So it's a perfect example of, I live 2.5 to 3 hours away, it would not be reasonable for them to come here. So
Right.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
The virtual chapter is perfect for that.
That's
And
amazing.
we've even had inquiries from, I've had clients, interior design clients in Australia and England.
Mhm.
And I had someone on my calendar today, I think it's today, from Nigeria. She's an interior
Wow.
designer. And I'm like, wow, I think that's the farthest I've had. I don't know my map very well, but it was wow to me.
Yeah.
But they can also join the Interior Design Society, so it can become
Oh,
international
wow.
chapter, which is really cool. And a lot of these other countries, the designers aren't as freely giving of their information as we are here now that there's more conversation in the industry. And they
Yeah.
really like networking with American designers because we share information
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
and we support each other.
Yes.
I have to look into that.
I'll send you that link too. I'd love to have you
Send
guys
me.
in the
Can we
chapter.
have that link too? I'm
Yeah.
like, this has been
Well, that
awesome
ultimately-
talking to Nancy. Are we big Nancy fans? Are we going to stalk her now forever and ever?
Yes. That's a given.
I call them lurkers, not stalkers. I call them
Yes.
lurkers.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll add us to your lurker team.
Yes.
Do that. Are you guys in my group? I think one of you.
I am.
You
Dixie's
are?
in.
Am I? No.
I don't think so. I have Actionable Entrepreneurs, and you can get there by actionableentrepreneurs.com. I actually bought the URL, which is a great little
Smart.
tip, guys.
Yep.
By the URL, so you could just put the URL out there, and it actually takes them to my Facebook group.
Well, that's because you can point your URL anywhere.
Right. And just easier to say when you're, on podcasts or, actionableentrepreneurs.com. That's my private Facebook group. Go there and join where we take action every single day.
How did I get left out of this group?
I don't
That's
know.
all I want to know.
I don't put people in unless
I
they
know.
find me.
Yeah.
That's one of the unwritten rules.
Yes.
I want to put everybody in, but I don't.
Mhm.
Do
Yes.
that, so.
I know. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, how did I end up in this
Yeah.
group? Some people just
I get
add
so
you.
confused.
Yeah, it's so odd. This has been so great getting to know you. I can't wait to hop in your group. It sounds
Yay.
amazing with the actionable tips every day.
Thank you. I think I'm in your group too. I think I'm already. I'm
Pretty
already
sure.
in,
Yeah.
right?
I can throw you in there if.
Yes, please do. We should link the groups. That's what we should do.
Yes.
So do
You can do
you
that.
travel to High Point or anything or you just?
I used to with
You used to?
Expressive Living. I've been to
Yeah.
Vegas markets. My parents live in Vegas, so I always took the
Yeah.
opportunity to go there. I've
Yeah.
been to High Point quite a few times. But now I go, if I'm not speaking or if I'm not on a panel,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I really have to use my time wisely.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I've upped a new group. It's called the Sales and Leadership Academy. It's full, so I'm going for a second group for interior designers. And then after that, I'll be filling a group for coaches because I have no more one-on-one slots right now. So
Good for you, Nancy. That's amazing.
it's fun. It's fun. And again, when I look, I love the one-on-one. I can really move people quickly. But the group is so satisfying too. So I love the balance of it. So yeah, I don't go to the markets as much anymore. I am going to the IDS National Conference at the end of April because I'm a board member and I am doing a roundtable.
Where's that at?
That is in Savannah, Georgia.
Ooh.
I'm excited.
Love
I've never been
Savannah.
there.
I'm trying to see where our crowds are going to pass. I hope our crowds are
Paths.
paths cross. Yes. I'm like, what?
That had me confused for a moment.
I know. I was like, hang on a minute. Yeah, I hope our paths cross somehow then.
I'm sure they
I'll
will.
probably have to come to New York.
We will find a way to make this happen.
Yes.
In New York. I
We
live
will
out
make
on the
this happen.
island, but I'll go into the city. Sarah from My Doma was supposed to be in tonight,
Oh,
actually.
I saw
No,
that.
tomorrow
Yes,
night.
yes.
And it got canceled. So her and I were going to meet up for dinner out on the island here.
Darn.
But and ask other people to come, but that got canceled. So
Darn.
we
I love
figure it out.
Sarah. We love
She's
us
so
some
sweet.
Sarah.
She's so sweet.
Well, thanks again, Nancy. It's been such a pleasure having you on, getting to know you. I will hop in your group. I am going to do your framework.
Yay! Let me know how it goes.
I know. I hope, just listening, if anybody listening, it's not that easy. Just that first time you asked me to describe myself in 3 words, I thought, oh, I'll just, buzz through this. It's not easy. So I am going to take, and just seeing that means that I need to take that time to,
and I always say, don't stress. Sometimes it actually takes days. You're thinking about it in the shower and this, and you're going, maybe I should do this. And it's kind of the beginning of your own branding process and getting really clear and concise. And once you have it down, you don't have to memorize it. You memorize the formula.
Yeah.
When I introduce myself, I need to give 3 adjectives and my title. And the adjectives might come out different next time, and that's okay. So it's more like memorizing the formula and rehearsing it a little bit till it more easily flows off your tongue. But yeah, go do my exercise. And I want to have you guys on weekend wind down.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. 100%. All right. So look for us soon on Weekend Wind Down.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, wait. Let me ask you one question before we go, Nancy. I sent you a message. We wanted to start today. Why does visibility matter to you?
Because otherwise I can't be found.
Right.
Bottom line, simple.
It's as simple as that, right?
I'm very direct and dynamic business coach.
Yeah.
My business in words. If you want to be found, you have to live your life and you have to be visible. And, for those who are a little shy and starting out, like, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to join my friends and my family. I totally get that, but take baby steps, because your friends and your family may actually know someone who needs your service. And as they expand and they maybe share some of your stuff, their friends now see, and you become even more visible. You can't just build it and expect them to come. Like I said before, you have to be seen on a regular, consistent basis. So it's like a magazine. Do you ever go to a magazine and go, I needed to hire a window washer? And three magazines ago, I think I saw something in there, and now you're digging through and you're like, I can't find it.
Yeah.
So the next person that comes to your attention that does the service you need is the one you reach out to first. The visibility is so important, because you need to be there at the moment they even have a thought that they may need what you do. If you're not there, they're going to choose the next person that comes up in front of them. So visibility, it's really what it's all about. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, Nancy. That's the perfect place to end it.